how do we go directly to veterans? And there's a guy that I actually played football against. He was an offensive lineman for Georgetown, Eric MTNTOUGH. He works for a company called Forgive Co. that his dad founded. And what they do is they work with debt consolidators to allow you to pay off basically debt on other people's behalf. Really cool thing. So bottom line is what we did in August is I wrote them a check that paid off $2.5 million of veteran medical debt. And from the 8th through the 11th is Veterans Day. That's on Monday. We're going to pledge 100% of profits to try to get that number from 2.5 to 5. So we fronted the first 2.5. We're trying to get it to 5, by Monday night. And it's just been a wild thing. We're starting to get the initial batch of recipients are starting to notify us. And it could because they're starting to get the notification through ForgiveCo that, hey, that $188,000 medical bill you had, that, of course you couldn't control, it's zero now. And they're like, this has to be a hoax. And they're like, no, Born Primitive, veteran-owned company, like they paid it off on your behalf, no action required. You're going to get official letter in the mail and it's done deal. Like you literally don't have to do anything. And of course they're skeptical at first because they're like, there's no way, right? What's the catch?
Yeah.
But no, when they're like, no, there's no catch. There's no action required. It's gone. The creditors will stop calling you. Your credit score is going to go back up. You can, breathe a sigh of relief. Well, some of those people are starting to contact me now, which is really cool. I actually spoke to one of the guys yesterday. His debt wasn't as much. It was like 12 grand, but he was in Fallujah, saw a ton of really bad combat, left. He was in Iraq and Afghanistan. He was a Marine, major PTSD. So he would get these like panic attacks through PTSD where he thought he's having a heart attack, and he, would go to the ER and there were a bunch of complications around his heart in PTSD. But he said my insurance wouldn't cover anything. And he's like, he's a mechanic. He's a father of 4. He's like, I can't afford these bills, and these guys like won't stop harassing me, and it's killed my credit. And he's like, I couldn't even get a mortgage because my credit is so bad. And he's like, I just can't afford that. He's like, I can't afford to pay my grocery bill. Of course I can't pay that bill. So these are like real people that it's impacting. And it's pretty cool, man, because that's a lot of money. Some of these people on the list, there's another girl who, her debt was about 15 grand, but this, mother out of Texas, and she got a bad car accident, got a bunch of major TBI from it. And, just got to the point she had to relearn all these basic skills, because it was such a bad accident. And, she couldn't cover her medical bills. Right. And she's like, I will never be able to afford to pay this off. But now it's zero. Right. So, it's been cool. I think we're going to get a lot more inquiries, like honestly, in the next couple of weeks, because people are still receiving it, and a lot of people just won't believe it. But I think once they start seeing our campaign, they might be like, holy shit, I got a letter about that. That actually is real. So that's the gist of the campaign, man. We're pretty excited about it. And I think the effort will be even bigger next year. I won't, on air, I won't mention it, but we may be partnering with another entity that you might be intimately familiar with to make the effort $20 million next year. So
that we might have texted about.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There we go. Yeah. Good call. I forgot. Another very good, company founded by, good Americans that wanted to join the effort. So, this is our first hack at it. I think it'll be really cool. And we're excited, man.
I did not realize that there was such an issue with medical debt in the veteran population. I was aware that it is the number one issue for bankrupting families in the United States, and people should do a little bit of research on that. And so I guess I should have extrapolated that there was that same issue among veterans. How did you become aware of that particular issue?
Well, I knew that financial distress can be a major contributing factor to veteran suicide. As you know, that's plagued our community. So that kind of planted the initial seed, because when Eric called me, he thought just a general debt forgiveness would be a cool initiative. And I was like, hey man, that's actually kind of goes against our brand values. Because like, we're not about handouts and entitlements. Like we're about like earning your keep and getting after it, and, no victim mentality. And then I chewed on, I said, wait a second. I said, could you filter it by people who have served their country? And could it be specific to medical bill debt? And he said, shoot, give me a day. I'll get back to you. And why I wanted that was because, one, I thought it could be a good fit for a Veterans Day campaign, but two, no one deliberately incurs medical bill debt. It's not like the E4 that goes and buys a Ford Raptor for $95,000 that now is $60,000 in debt because he's just an idiot. Like, there's plenty of E4s that have done that because they're young. They're young and they don't know any better yet. God bless them. But those were not the people. Those were not the people that I was trying to help because they need to learn the hard way, right? I wanted to.
Don't forget the 30% interest rate that they got from the dealership 1 mile from the front gate.
Exactly. That's banned. The Camaro it's like, anyway. So it was important to me. I said, it needs to be medical bill debt because that's something you don't plan. That's not because you were financially irresponsible. That's because you have a major life event that you didn't plan that is now wrecking your life and your family potentially. And he came back and said, we can do it, man. I talked to my dad and we can filter it by that. So I cut him a check and turned him loose, and said, all right, go pay this off. And then we're going to do hopefully another 2.5, after Veterans Day. So they got all excited about it. And, so that's how it worked logistically, but that was the reason for wanting to keep it to medical bills.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love that a portion of your organization is dedicated to helping veterans. There's a lot of organizations out there that lead with that, and you start digging into who they are and what they do, and you find out that it's more of a tagline than an actual mission statement, and that's a tough one to get around. I mean, there's 40,000 service-based organizations out there to help veterans, and the reality is, people are people. Not all those organizations are altruistic, so it's good to see, in my opinion, awesome to see somebody who coming from that community wanting to give back.